Now read a second time. I call the member for Penrith.
Speaker, I wish to make a contribution on the Building Legislation Amendment Bill 2023. The bill makes amendments to various acts across the better regulation and fair trading and building portfolios. These acts include Home Building Act 1989, Building Products Safety Act 2017, Building and Development Certifiers Act 2018, Design and Building Practitioners Act 2020, and Strata Schemes Management Act 2015. These amendments will improve accountability, responsibility and confidence in the construction industry. This government has openly committed to a progressive reform agenda for the oversight of the New South Wales building industry. This bill progresses a range of much needed reforms to strengthen consumer protections for homeowners, ensure accountability for unsafe building products, and provide necessary powers to address practitioners' non-compliant work and poor behaviour. We have all heard the horror stories and seen the serious impacts that unsafe building products and non-compliant buildings can have on people's lives and livelihood. I think we all know someone who has been badly impacted and suffered huge financial losses to fix building defects as a result of often illegal building practices or the use of substandard products in order to save a few dollars. Defective building work in low-rise residential construction costs Australian consumers more than $700 million annually. We don't need to be reminded about the Opal Towers and Mascot Towers debacle, and years later, those residents are still suffering the ramifications. This Labor government has unashamedly committed to tackling the housing crisis. However, we will not sacrifice construction quality for quantity. That is why we are creating a standalone building commission and investing $24 million in funding with more than 400 dedicated staff to confront the shonky players in the building market. In this, the bill has teeth. The Building Legislation Amendment Bill makes changes to the Building Commissioner's enforcement powers that were recommended by the Legislative Council's Public Accountability Committee's report, further inquiry into the regulation of building standards. It will enable the new Building Commission to effect behavioural change while restoring confidence to the New South Wales residential construction sector, investors, and importantly, homeowners. This bill implements the first tranche of reforms this government expects to make as part of the biggest overhaul of New South Wales building laws in the state's history. Further reforms to building legislation will be introduced to Parliament in 2024 by way of a whole-of-sector Building Act to consolidate and enhance all New South Wales legislation, thus delivering this government's reform agenda. This bill also amends the Home Building Act 1989 to introduce new powers for the building regulator to undertake proactive investigation and order rectification of building defects in low-rise residential Class 1 homes during construction. This will allow early detection of defects and reduce the burden on homeowners having to lodge complaints or take costly legal action to rectify any building defects. In the 2022-23 financial year, the construction industry experienced the highest rate of insolvency in Australia compared to all other industries. It is important that we increase powers to the Commissioner to prevent practitioners with a history of insolvency or illegal phoenixing from working in the building sector. So what is phoenixing? Phoenix activity occurs when a new company rises from the ashes of a former company. It is of little or no value, continues the business of the existing company that has been liquidated or otherwise abandoned, thus leaving debts with the old company. The new Phoenix company is formed with the intention to exploit the corporate form to avoid paying outstanding debts, which can include taxes, creditors, and employee entitlements. It's important to address this abhorrent behaviour in the building industry. Amendments to the Building Products Safety Act 2017 impose a range of obligations and accountabilities on persons who form part of a building product supply chain and expand current requirements to ban and/or recall the supply of building products that are deemed to be non-conforming. A non-conforming product is a building product that does not meet the National Construction Code standards and laws, or is not suitable or safe for its intended use. It introduces new duties to apply to all persons in the supply chain of building products to ensure that products that are designed, manufactured, and supplied and installed in buildings are safe and compliant to the relevant standards and building codes. It is intended that the building safety reforms will come into force at the same time as the Comprehensive Building Act, and the government intends to introduce next year, as I outlined above. Speaker, this is a common sense approach to allow time for the government to establish the dedicated Building Commission and educate people in the building product supply chain about their new obligations. This will also give industry appropriate time to prepare to comply with their new obligations. This bill amends the Building and Development Certifiers Act 2018 and the Design and Building Practitioners Act 2020 to enable the building regulator to immediately suspend practitioners who are subject to a show cause notice. This means where the Secretary is satisfied there is or is likely to be a serious risk to public safety, consumers or other businesses if the practitioner is allowed to continue to work until the disciplinary action is finalised. This is much welcome news in the local government sector, where there has been significant advocacy over many years on this issue. The bill also makes administrative changes to support the new Building Commission to share information with other government agencies. Extensive consultation has been conducted on the reforms contained in the bill. In August last year, the Department of Customer Service publicly consulted on a wide range of building reforms, including the reforms proposed in this bill. Stakeholders provided feedback and comment on the draft bill and accompanying regulatory impact statements. The consultation received 1,477 survey submissions and 117 submissions from consumers, tradespeople and industry associations. There was broad support for the reforms contained in the bill. Indeed, I myself have received positive feedback from businesses in my seat of Penrith. Separate public consultation was carried out between August and October this year on the proposal to introduce mandatory 10-year serious defects insurance for all new apartment buildings. The proposals contained in this bill are separate from this consultation and are intended to enable the ongoing voluntary uptake of serious defects insurance. Speaker, as I previously said, this bill introduces common sense reforms, and as a government, we are committed to delivering for the people of New South Wales and have further reforms on the way. And I commend this bill to the House.
Thank the member for Penrith.